Get the stream up on my phone. All right, there we go. We're hopefully live this time. Yep, there we are. All right, cool. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Have I got a story for you guys today? And I know eventually you guys will watch it later. So, for those of you who know me, you know last night I was actually conveniently talking about how good my 2001 GMC Sierra is. And how it's lasted for 24 years and, you know, it's never been an issue or never had an issue. Guess what happened last night? I love how convenient this game is sometimes when it comes to being like, haha, flip you. Or not the game, but the, just in general, the amount of times that I've had, also, if you'll give me a second, guys, I am looking for something. There's a few new vehicles if the update came out. Yep, there it is. So it isn't a DLC. Because it's locked. And these are too. I just checked though, and it's not. Oh my god. Hold on. But anyway, since I am, let's see what we have here. Alright, let's see what kind of add-ons they have here. I love the fact that it's not showing me season pass. Let's see if it'll do this. Season pass. Oh my god. Purchased, but it's not showing me the one that they just added. That's the one I want, is the one that they just added. Ooh, tear down season pass. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not even seeing the new add-on. I didn't know they had a season pass for Wreckfest either. That's interesting. Or not Wreckfest, but oh my lord. It's not showing me the new season pass at all. What is the number for the season pass now? I think it's like season 16, I think. Season 13, season 12, season 1 I already got, season 14, 15, and it goes all the way to 15, but like I have season 15. Have they just not added it yet? Is that it? I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because it's not even showing it. That's pathetically stupid, but whatever. We'll figure it out here in a little bit. But anyway, so, you know, it wouldn't start, yada, 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 right? And I was like, okay, well, let me go to where my cousin works at, and I'll get them to test it and see what the issue is. So I go in there because, you know, I figured it was either the battery or the alternator, because it was turning over, the starter was fine. And I tell them what's going on, and, you know, common sense would have said, hey, we probably need to check the battery or the alternator. And this old bat, and it's not old, but she's older than me, so I call her an old bat. She's a bitch every time you go in there. She goes, well, a tester or a code runner isn't going to tell you what's wrong with the truck or what's wrong with that. Well, then you're working at a mechanics, like a parts store. You have something to test the battery and stuff. And I told her that the battery was like wasn't, or I needed to charge the battery and everything. So she there's no way you don't know what the flip you have to do. And she just basically refused to do it. And I said, you know what? I'll wait for my cousin to get here, where there's somebody in here that actually wants to work and isn't sitting on their phone. And I guess I should have just went to the other guy and just asked him to help me. But I said that and I walked out the store, and she comes chasing after me, talking about, you're now trespassing, blah, 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 stay right there, I'm calling the cops. So here I am freaking out because I think I'm in trouble because the fact that I pointed out that she was being a lazy ass bitch. And I sit there for a good long while and the cops don't show up. I told my mom what was going on, and my mom contacted my cousin who wasn't there that day, or that wasn't there at work today. And he told her that she'd have to fill out a report with customer service. Okay, my mom called and did that, and apparently my cousin called them and told them to tell me that I needed to leave. So one guy that came in here later, or he came later after all this had occurred, he didn't know what had happened or nothing. He comes out there, he goes, I don't know what's going on or anything. He goes, but Javier, which is my cousin's name, big shout out to him, he's a hard worker, very hard worker, works his ass off and don't get paid worth the shit for it. But meanwhile, bitches like that don't do nothing and probably get paid more than he does. But he comes out, he goes, you know, Javier told me to tell you to leave. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, well, you know, I need to know if I'm allowed to come back here or not, because the cops hadn't showed up. So I drove to the police station and I went in there and I was like, hey, has a file been reported or whatever, or has there been a report of a trespassing thing for the Advanced? And the guy's like, no. And I'm like, you know, okay. I was just, and you know, at this point, like, I'm so nervous, I'm in tears, crying, because the fact I thought I had done something wrong just by, you know, basically stating the obvious, that she was a lazy ass and didn't want to do nothing. And the cop comes and he talks to me a little bit. And he's like, yeah, they'd have to fill out a report with us, and we'd have to come and tell you that, you know, you've been served or whatever, and that you can't trespass. And so he goes, they haven't done that, so you're good. You can go back up there if I wanted to. I said, good, because if I wanted to be an ass like I could be, I could go right back up there and there couldn't be nothing. But I decided it wasn't worth it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the auto zone instead. My ass went right to the AutoZone. I drove by that damn store. I said, fuck you, bitch. And then I shouted it out the window. I don't know if she heard me. I don't care if she heard me. I said, fuck you, bitch. And then I drove to the Advanced. I went in there, told them what was going on. They checked my damn battery. Not even 5 minutes, guys. I knew what was wrong with my truck. My battery's bad on my truck. It would have took this bitch 5 minutes to figure out what the hell was wrong with my truck. 5 damn minutes. And this bitch didn't want to do it. And got pissed at me because I called her out. If I was the kind of person that liked kicking ass, I might have went to jail today. But I didn't feel like it. Plus my brother was in the back seat. My disabled brother. So, you know, what are they going to do with him, you know? But, and you know, I talked to the cop and I said, hey, can, you know, we walk outside to my truck, my disabled brother's in there and I got to keep an eye on him. He goes, yeah, sure. And, you know, we got talking, and the cop was nice. He explained everything to me, made it to where I understood it. And I was like, okay, cool, thank you. And he goes, yeah, you can go up there as much as you want. They haven't submitted a report, so you can go up there as much as you want. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't think I'm going back up there no more, though. You know, I love my cousin and all, but if that's the kind of people that they're going to hire and allow to work in there, I don't want anything to do with that place. Because she's a lazy ass. She's never fucking do anything. She's got a snobby ass attitude every damn day you go in there. And if I had the number to customer service, I'd submit a damn report on her too. But, yeah. Because she's a snob. She's been a snob every time I've went in there. Been a bitch. You know, didn't act like she wanted to fucking work. You don't want to work, don't go to work, you know? Stay the fucking home. You ruin everybody's day anyway. But anyway, yeah, that's what happened to me this morning. But yeah, my mom's talking about that. You know, I had enough money, I could have got the battery, but I wouldn't have had anything left. So my mom's probably going to give me a little bit of extra cash just in case. And I'm going to get my battery for my truck and install it. So, yes, guys, I know how to change a battery. I know that's a big surprise to a lot of you guys because you know how I talk about I don't know shit about trucks. I've changed the battery in a van before. I've changed, I think, the battery in a few other vehicles as well. It's not that hard. It's scary as hell, especially when you don't know whether or not the battery's on or not, which, of course, I guess if the truck was on, you would know. But I think it's a 90-day warranty on the thing, so, you know, I'm gonna you know, hope to God that it works. Oh, this is gonna be fun to try and turn in and out of here. And by fun, I mean a pain in the ass. But yeah, I mean, you know, it astonishes me how somebody has the audacity to get pissed off when someone calls them out on something. But yet, they don't want to take responsibility for the fact that that somebody is correct. I'll tell you now. Oh, that's a car. If I was at work somewhere and somebody called me out on it, you know, I'd be like, you know, you're right, I'm sorry, I'm being an asshole, you know, forgive me, whatever, you know, and I'd move on about my day and I'd get them what they needed so they'd get the fuck out of the store, you know. This is gonna be hard as hell to try and maneuver my ass. I just got stuck. Frickin' dunk. Alright, let's see. Can I drive up this so I can turn this truck a little bit? Maybe. Alright, let's see. I need to get the trailer to go this way. Hello, Chris. Wrong way, dumbass. There we go. Alright, turn. No, don't go in a ditch. That's cool. You missed a whole rant that I just had. Oh boy, this ought to be interesting. I guess I'm going back the other way because going that way is just impossible. Nice. I don't know what that is, but okay. Sounds like you had a blast. I had a blast this weekend too. Well, yeah, it was this weekend, I think. Assuming that you're asking that question, I'm assuming you didn't hear my entire rant that I just went on about what happened to me this morning. Well, I'll tell you anyway, because it helps me kind of get over it a little bit. So, oh, somebody's calling. Potential spam. We'll just ignore that. There we go. This morning, I had a doctor's appointment. And, you know, I load my disabled brother up in the truck. Well, hold on. Let me start from the beginning. So, I go to grab my truck, and it almost feels like the battery, or, you know, maybe the alternator, whatever it might have been, wasn't wanting to turn over. It kind of felt a little sluggish to turn over. But she crunk, and I cut her off again, I crunk her again. I'm like, okay, cool, you know, everything's fine. So I pull the truck around to put my brother in, and I put him in, and I put his big, humongously heavy freaking chair in the back of my truck. And I go to crank the truck up so we can leave to go to my appointment. It goes, I'm like, uh-oh, that's not a good sound. I do, it does it again. I do it like 2 more times. And my mom at this point, she's pulling out with her little Ford, and I'm like, damn it, the Ford's going to outdo me today. And so I call my mom. I'm like, hey, I need your help. She goes, what? I said, my battery or something's dead on my truck. She goes, okay, hold on, let me turn the car on. She gets her truck, we hook it up, and she cranks it didn't take long to get her crunk up and all. So I was like, okay, you know, and then I get in my truck and I see 3 different things that aren't working. Normally, I get a little warning light that tells me like battery and things like that are not working the way that they're supposed to on my truck. That was not happening on my truck today. I wasn't getting any warnings at all. Dude, what am I stuck on? Okay, really? Really? When will you stream Minecraft again? I don't know, Chris. I honestly don't. It'll depend on what I want to do. As I was explaining to the guys last night, it'll all depend on if that's what I want to do or not. But, anyway, so, I'm over here, you know, I get the truck crunk up and my radio's not working. The time is like completely off. Like it was like 10 something and it was reading that it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, yeah, that's off. And the radio just would not work at all. I'm like, well, that's not good. And then a few other things weren't working as well, but it ran, you know, the brakes were fine and everything. So I was like, okay, I can make this work. And my mom's like, well, you know, you should go and get it looked at. And so I go over to the Advanced where my cousin works at. And I'm like, I hope he's here because I don't want to deal with anyone else because I don't like dealing with people very much. Plus, my cousin normally knows how to help me and isn't a lazy ass like this bitch that I'm about to talk about was. So I go in there, I'm like, hey, you know, can you hook up a tester or a coder to my truck? And I tell her what was going on. She's like, the tester or the coder isn't going to tell us anything like that. And I told her what was going on. She goes, the tester's not going to, you know, tell us what that is. And I'm like, well, can you do something? Or I said, can you hook something up to see what's wrong? And she goes, oh, the thing isn't going to help me figure out how to fix your truck. I'm like, I'm not asking you to fix, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not asking you to fix the damn truck. I'm just asking you to help me figure out what the fuck's wrong with it. This bitch just doesn't want to work. And that was all it was. So I made the comment. I said, you know what? I'll go somewhere. I'll wait for my cousin to come back, or I'll go somewhere else where somebody actually wants to work and not sit on their phone. And she gets pissed the fuck off. I'm talking like she chases at me after out the door, talking about that I'm now trespassing and I need to leave. And you know, I said, what's the matter? And we kind of had an argument. I said, what's the matter? I said, I don't care about you fixing the truck. I said, the point is, you don't want to get off your damn phone to do anything, and you're being lazy. And she gets pissed the fuck off about it because I pointed it out. And she goes, I'm calling the cops. You stay right there. And at first I put the truck in reverse. I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna talk to the cops. I put that shit in park. I sat there. No cops ever showed up. Nobody ever showed up. And I called my mom and I told her what had happened. And you know, at this point I'm panicking. And because, you know, I was afraid I had done something wrong and that I was going to get in trouble and all. My mom messages my brother, not my brother, but my cousin, and my cousin's like, well, I can't really do anything here. Call customer service and report her or something. So my mom does, and after my mom does that, my cousin, or I'm assuming while my mom was doing that, whatever, my cousin calls them, or one of them, and he goes, hey, tell him to leave. And so a guy that I've actually learned to respect a lot more than when he originally got there. He was a lazy ass, but he's actually gotten a lot better now about it. He actually seems like he works really hard and tries to learn things and all. But rather than sitting on his lazy ass on the phone like she was doing. And I'm not even joking with y'all. She was sitting on something on her damn phone. And that's what I called her out on. I didn't give a shit that she didn't want to do anything or nothing. It was the fact that she was on her damn phone while she was supposed to be working. I don't care if you ain't got nothing to do or not. I will tell you exactly like my old boss at KJ's used to tell me. If you ain't got nothing to do, go find something to do. Make your ass look like you working. That way people don't be thinking you're a lazy ass and that there ain't no reason for you to be there. That way you ain't got nobody reporting your ass. You know, that was always what the boss and the manager of the store would tell us. You know, if you ain't got nothing to do, find something to do. So this bitch like was sitting there doing nothing, and I sat there. It was probably about 10-15. And I'm like, you know what? And you know, the guy comes out there and tells me my cousin told me to leave or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, and I left, and I'm like, you know, I gotta figure out if they reported me or not, so I know if I can come back or not. Because I don't want to get in trouble and get arrested because the fact I didn't know whether or not I was gonna have a trespassing thing on me or not. And so I go up to the police station, and I ask them, hey, has a trespassing thing? And at this point I'm like basically in tears because I'm panicking, I'm scared, because I thought I've done something wrong. And the cop, he comes out there and he doesn't really comfort me, but he lets me talk about what happened and everything. And it just, it made me feel so much better to have a cop that actually took the time to stand there with me and listen to what I had to say instead of seeming like he was rushing me away. And he agreed with me that, that it wasn't right for her to be getting pissed off at me because of the fact I called her out for being lazy. And he said, no report has come in. He goes, because if it had, we would have went down there and we would have told you that you were no longer able to go there anymore. And he goes, nothing has come in, so you're good. I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. And I left, and I went to AutoZone. Not even 5 minutes, they found out what the fuck was wrong with my truck. My battery is bad. They hooked up a battery tester and found out what was wrong with my truck. The battery was bad, and that was quite literally it. So I'm thinking to myself when I find this out, it wouldn't have took her 5 minutes to do this. Why was she giving such a hard time about, figuring out what the hell was wrong with my truck? And it wasn't nothing but she was lazy. And the guy that worked at it, the AutoZone, even said, yeah, I've had to go over there before and for parts that we didn't have, and he doesn't even try. It's like, damn. And it's honestly the truth. Those people over there, except my cousin and a few others, are lazy as hell. They don't want to do anything. I've went in there multiple times, and there will be multiple of them on their phones. But I don't say anything. I get my shit and get out. But that was just a case of her being lazy as hell. You're supposed to provide a service.
Mom says get your butt out there.
Alright, hold on. Alright guys, that would actually be my mother coming to do the stuff. So I have to go. But I'm probably going to go get a battery to put in my truck so that hopefully I can get that thing going again. I hope everybody has a lovely day, and I will continue when I get back. So y'all have a good one. And remember,